All right, here we go. One whatever, don't stop the show. Time to tell the truth. That's what time it is. So we hope that you are ready for the truth because oftentimes, as we go through this process in this series, which we've been doing for a while now, sometimes we realize you just can't handle the truth. Okay? For those that don't know who I am, my name is Dr. Rosenshaw Belt. Everybody calls me Dr. Roz, not Dr. Oz. Put the R there. And I am the CEO of Dream to Life Productions Ministry, LLC, nonprofit. I am a wife, a musician, a bunch of other stuff. But I'm a certified wellness coach. Yes, the doctorate is theology and divinity, not a medical doctor, but I promise you, I put the work in, the research, the all that's necessary to come and bring to you powerful information. The certification comes from being a certified wellness coach. I'm actually 2 times a certified wellness coach, and we're happy about that. But now, this is our second part of this series about the power of the sun in wellness. The power of the sun in wellness. Now, anybody that knows me knows that's major because we're talking about the sun. Wow. And folks know I'm really not into the sun, but that's changing because when you get information, you learn some things, right? And when you learn more, you ought to do more and you ought to reach into those areas where you have been deficient, maybe in your knowledge. So today we're going to touch on part 2. If you missed part 1, you got to go back to our Facebook page. Excuse me, our YouTube page. It's Dr. Raza Khanna. Go there and search, and you'll find this particular playlist called Time to Tell the Truth. So today we're going to touch on what is circadian rhythm. Anybody ever heard of that? Circadian rhythm. Well, it's the body's amazing internal timekeeper that orchestrates your daily biological symphony. I love that. Being a music person, symphony. Symphony has multiple different instruments, all bringing harmony and producing a melody that is just beautiful. And that's what our body does. We used to sing it in the kid, neck bone connected to the shoulder bone connected. Everything works together when it's working correctly. But there's something about this that we need to understand. So let's learn.
Today's topic is everything you need to know about the circadian rhythm. The circadian rhythm is your sleep-wake pattern over a 24-hour day. It is responsible for your schedules of sleeping and wakefulness and is present in all living things. It is affected by light and dark along with your environment. The brain releases specific hormones based on the signals released due to the temperature and environment, which causes changes to your metabolism and affects your sleep. An affected circadian rhythm can lead to sleep disorders, which you can counter by maintaining healthy habits. Before we get to that, let's take a detailed look at circadian rhythm. What affects the circadian rhythm? The circadian rhythm is one of the 4 biological rhythms of the body, and it is made up of several components. First of all, the cells of the body respond to environmental conditions, such as light or dark, and relay signals along the body to the brain. These signals can determine whether you feel sleepy or awake. Secondly, hormones such as cortisol and melatonin are also linked to the circadian rhythm. Their production may increase or decrease according to your circadian rhythm. Melatonin is responsible for making you sleepy, while cortisol ends up making you more alert. Similarly, hormones such as leptin, insulin, vasopressin, and acetylcholine are also tied to the circadian rhythm. Other factors linked with the circadian rhythm are the metabolism and body temperature. How does the circadian rhythm change with age? Babies usually do not have a circadian rhythm, causing their sleep to be erratic. The circadian rhythm matures as they grow, and children typically have a very stable sleep cycle. The sleep cycle becomes disturbed during the teen years, with teenagers experiencing a sleep phase delay, which causes them to not feel sleepy for most of the night. This is mostly due to the hormonal changes caused by puberty, and the circadian rhythm settles as they mature into adulthood. What causes the circadian rhythm to be disturbed? Your sleep cycle can be disturbed by 1. Overworking, stress, and staying at the office too long. 2. Work shifts with erratic hours. 3. Jet lag. 4. Traveling in different time zones. 5. Medication. 6. Lifestyle involving early wake times and late night hours. 7. Mental health conditions. 8. Head injuries, brain damage, or dementia. 9. Poor sleep habits. How to correct the circadian rhythm. Here's how you can deal with a disturbed circadian rhythm and set it right. 1. Try to follow a set routine each day. 2. Sleep in a supportive environment with the right lighting and a comfortable mattress. 3. Boost wakefulness by spending time outside during the day. 4. Avoid naps in the late afternoon or evening. 5. Avoid nicotine, alcohol, or caffeine in the evening. 6. Exercise each day. 7. Shut down your devices when it is time to sleep.
Thank you for watching our video. Please.
Wow. So this circadian rhythm, I don't know if you've ever heard of the circadian rhythm or not, but let me reiterate. Let's break this down. Now we've heard the all technical stuff. Let's break this down because this is the body's internal clock. This is the clock that God made, and it depends on light cues to function properly. So one of those is morning sunlight. Morning sunlight exposure within the first hour of waking sends powerful signals to your super chiasmatic nucleus. In other words, your brain's master clock. There's a clock inside of you. That's why you can wake up and your body seems to wake up at the same time even without your alarm clock, because of the circadian rhythm. But natural light exposure helps that. It stops melatonin production for alertness. It starts the 14 to 16 hour countdown to the evening sleepiness. It regulates cortisol patterns for sustained energy, and it improves the REM sleep quality and duration. And many of us don't get REM sleep. Even just 5 to 10 minutes of morning sunlight can dramatically improve sleep patterns within the days. Guys, I was putting this together and listening to it, and I said, let me go outside. So I went outside, and normally when I go outside in the sun, the only thing I think about is it's hot. But today, I walked outside and said, I receive the sunshine vitamin. See, it was a different mindset. It was a different understanding. Check out Dr. Bobby Price.
One benefit is going to be it puts the body in what is called circadian rhythm. Circadian literally means essentially the sun. So puts you in rhythm with the sun. Okay? So we all have a circadian rhythm in our bodies. And typically what they'll say is circadian is related to the light and dark cycles. So having light, having sun exposure, and then when the sun goes down, the body does something differently biochemistry wise, okay? Now, what's important about this is that your circadian rhythm, when you're in circadian rhythm with the sun, okay? You're in circadian rhythm with the sun in terms of when you wake up, okay? You're in circadian rhythm in terms of when you eat and don't eat. Okay, so that's what it means, like being in circadian rhythm, but it also means that when you're doing things in rhythm with the sun, it changes your biochemistry. I'll give you one example. The one example is if you go out in the morning, early in the morning, between 8 and 9:30, and get sun on you, direct sun on you, and look into the direction of the sun. You don't have to look directly into the sun. And you get that sun to hit the back of the retina of the eye, it literally triggers your body to release melatonin 12 hours later. It triggers your body to release cortisol initially to wake you up. And then when you're getting towards the sleep time, it causes that cortisol level to go down. So then you become tired and go to sleep along with the melatonin levels rising. Okay? So that's what I mean by circadian rhythm. If you're not in circadian rhythm, the sun goes down and then you wait until midnight to go to sleep every night, then it's going to throw the rhythm off, and that melatonin releases around about 8, 9 o'clock, and then you constantly avoid it, and then it becomes difficult to go to sleep around 12 o'clock. Okay, so that's what I mean by getting sun exposure puts your body in circadian rhythm. Hugely important. Okay.
Wow. Hugely important. So let's talk about this circadian rhythm, how it works. So he mentioned it, light detection process. Your eyes detect light signals, send them directly to your SCN, which then adjusts hormone production like melatonin to promote sleep during darkness. A lot of us have difficulty sleeping. So possibly as we begin to incorporate these things, because it's all about the cellular timekeepers. See, there's this special clock genes within your cells, creates intricate feedback loops that maintain the precise 24-hour biological rhythm at the molecular level. How does it work? Sleep-wake cycles are coordinated rest and alertness patterns. Your body temperature, natural fluctuations supporting energy conservation. Your cellular timekeeper, a special clock, genes. These special clock genes within your cells create intricate feedback loops that maintain the precise 24-hour biological rhythm at the molecular level. See, when you start hearing this, it kind of starts to make sense. The hormone release, timed production of cortisol, melatonin, and growth hormones, and then the digestive function, optimized nutrient processing and metabolism. You're going to figure this out in a minute. You're going to see why some of us are holding fat in certain areas, why some of us are not getting sleep as we should be at the time we should be. Wow.
Here are 3 tips to improve your circadian rhythms for a good night's sleep. Number 1, don't eat within a window of 3 hours before bedtime. Number 2, make sure that you sleep in a cool, dark room. And number 3, cover your skin and your eyes during sleep. You got to black out for that good night's sleep. Follow for more natural health tips.
So why does all this matter? We could be, hey, I never heard of circadian. Why am I trying to get so technical? Why does it matter? Energy optimization. Because your circadian rhythm strategically allocates energy resources and coordinates your bodily functions to maximize efficiency throughout each 24-hour period. There's some disruption consequences. People that have shift work, jet lag, poor sleep habits can actually trigger serious health issues, including sleep disorders, metabolic dysfunction, and significant mood disturbances. And then there are wellness benefits. Maintaining healthy circadian rhythms enhances sleep quality, sharpens your mental focus, boosts your immune function, and promotes overall physical and emotional well-being. So let's maintain a healthy circadian rhythm. Oh, somebody put that in the chart so you can start using that word in the chat, circadian rhythm. Consistent sleep schedule. Let's try to maintain identical bedtimes and wake times every single day, including weekends, to strengthen your internal clock's natural programming. Number 2, strategic light exposure. Let's start seeking bright, natural sunlight during the morning hours and daytime. That's why I went out the door and just stood there in the sun for just a few minutes, because I'm going to start this process while limiting blue light from the screens at least 2 hours before bedtime. Oh, we got to start working on that one as well, right? Lifestyle synchronization. Incorporate regular exercise, manage daily stress levels effectively, and eat meals at consistent times to support your body's natural rhythm. That makes me realize I probably had a better circadian rhythm when I was a kid, because we ate dinner at the same time every day. A balanced circadian rhythm. This is your foundation for feeling genuinely alert during the day, deeply rested at night, and maintaining optimal health year-round. Now, we've heard the words thrown around a little bit, cortisol, and we want to definitely deal with that and make sure we understand what we're talking about.
It also helps, as I mentioned earlier, to regulate cortisol levels. And cortisol levels, when they're consistently elevated, your body will feel not only stress, but elevated cortisol levels will tell your body to actually store fat. Okay, so the more fat you're going to have on your body because you have elevated cortisol levels, because you're not getting sun exposure, which it basically triggers your body to say, let's start to sort of deplete the cortisol levels over time, over a 12-hour period. All right, so that's really important as well too. Helps with stress, helps with maintaining a healthy weight as well too. All right.
So we need to deal with all of that, right? Especially in the time we're living in, stress and body fat, because the sunlight exposure actually influences your cortisol levels and then transforms your overall wellness. We're talking about using what God already put here for us, that you don't even have to pay for. People say, well, I can't afford to get healthy. I can't afford wellness. The sun is free. See, you just got to understand cortisol. Cortisol is your body's stress manager. Now, hold on, come in here real close and listen to what I'm about to say for all you stress-related folk. Cortisol, often called the stress hormone. That's the vital steroid hormone produced by your adrenal glands. While it has earned a reputation as the villain in wellness conversations, it plays crucial roles in your body's daily functions. This powerful hormone regulates your metabolism, controls your blood sugar levels, reduces your inflammation, and assists with memory formation. Most importantly, cortisol follows a natural daily rhythm called the circadian rhythm, with levels peaking in the early morning to help you wake up and gradually declining throughout the day. When this rhythm becomes disrupted, you begin to experience fatigue, weight gain, mood swings, difficulty sleeping, and weakened immune function. So when we understand cortisol's natural pattern, it's the first step toward optimizing your wellness. Your body's cortisol production follows a predictable 24-hour cycle that's intimately connected to light exposure. 6 a.m., peak cortisol. Levels surge from 50 to 60% within 30 minutes of waking, preparing your body and your mind for the day ahead. This is called the cortisol awakening response. Midday, plateau. It remains moderately elevated to sustain energy and alertness through afternoon activities and cognitive demands. 6 p.m. starts to decline. Levels begin dropping significantly as your body transitions towards rest and recovery mode, preparing for sleep. And then the nighttime low. Cortisol reaches its lowest point during deep sleep, allowing your body to perform essential repair and restoration processes. That's the cortisol rhythm. If we start it at the time we're supposed to start it, that's why it's important now for us to get that exposure to the sun, to the light in our eyes early in the morning.
These days, most people are not taking advantage of those early hours of the day to get outside and get bright light from sunlight or from a 10,000 lux artificial source. In fact, most people just look at their phone or flip on a few indoor artificial lights, and that is not going to be sufficient to boost your cortisol levels the way you need to in order to achieve the kind of elevation in mood, focus, and alertness, and that can offset things like not just seasonal depression, but mild depression, malaise, lack of daytime energy, and on and on. So this thing about viewing bright light early in the morning, it's a real thing from the standpoint of the mechanism is understood, the ideal timing is understood, the magnitude of the impact on cortisol is very significant. These are big effects, and it's clinically significant with respect to mood, meaning you're going to feel more energized, you're going to feel better.
I know that to be true just from today. I went outside this morning. I don't do that. You don't know me, but I don't do that, right? Looked up at the sun, said I received this vitamin D, and immediately after walking back in the house, I could tell I felt energized without having anything. So sunlight regulates your cortisol. Sunlight is the most powerful external regulator of your cortisol rhythm. When the light enters your eyes, it travels directly to this nucleus in your brain, your body's master clock. So the activation takes place from the early sunlight exposure that signals your adrenal glands to release cortisol, creating that natural wake up boost and sharpening mental clarity. Anybody want to wake up boost and some mental clarity? Daytime regulation, continued daylight exposure maintains a healthy cortisol levels, even throughout the day, anytime you can get a little daytime sunlight. And then the evening wind down. As the natural light fades, your body receives the signal to reduce cortisol production, allowing melatonin to rise for restorative sleep. So there's a science behind all of this. Science behind the light, science behind the hormones. The relationship between light and cortisol is mediated through specialized photoreceptor cells in your retina, called intrinsically photosensitive retinal ganglion cells. Real big, long phrase right there. But these are cells that are particularly sensitive to blue wavelengths found abundantly in morning sunlight. As we said last week, there's no substitute for what you can receive from the sun. And the intensity matters significantly. Outdoor sunlight provides 10,000 to 100,000 lux, while typical indoor lighting, look at the difference, guys, 100 to 500 lux, a difference that profoundly impacts your hormonal signaling. So there are benefits of optimized cortisol through the sun exposure. We get more energy, we get better sleep, we get some weight management, we get improved mental clarity, we get mood stabilization, and we get stronger immune function. So if you haven't understood anything that I've talked about thus far, understand this. Pick one of these that you need, or just say all of the above.
All right, so I got good news and I got bad news. So the bad news is you're going to have to incorporate healthy habits that are going to last a lifetime so that you can live a regulated stress life for the rest of your life. But the good news is that you don't need any pills or potions to regulate your cortisol. So let's get into step one, which y'all actually have probably already heard from me, which is to get some sunlight in the AM. Please and thank you. Get some sunlight. I'm not gonna bore you guys with the science talk, but basically when the sun hits your retina and your eye, it sets off all of these different biological functions in your brain and your body that gets your body ready for the day, wakes your body up for the day, but also regulates your cortisol levels. When you don't do that, and let's say you drink a cup of coffee instead of going to see the sun, you significantly have heightened cortisol levels, rather than if you were to go outside to see the sun, get you a walk in, go ahead and get your 30 grams of protein, and then drink your coffee. It's like night and day, the different effects that it has on your cortisol levels, which in turn means it's going to have a different effect on your blood sugar levels, which in turn means it's going to have a different effect on your insulin levels, which in turn means it's going to have a different effect on your fat loss goals. So if you want to increase the effect on the fat loss goals, I would suggest going outside and looking at the sun. You get bonus points for getting a 10-minute walk in, and you get super duper bonus points for getting 40 grams of protein in that morning as well.
So she said, I'm not going to bore you with the technical jargon. Well, I've already done that. I've already bored you with all the technical stuff. But we've got to do this. Your practical sun exposure protocol. Here's what we're going to do. Here is what we're going to do. Or some variation of it at least. We got to implement strategic sunlight exposure, because it can dramatically improve your cortisol regulation. Hopefully by now you understand why you need to improve your cortisol regulation. And so we're going to go get some morning light window. We're going to get outside within 30 to 60 minutes of getting up, of waking. We're going to aim for that 10 to 30 minutes of direct sunlight exposure without any sunglasses. And if it's a cloudy day, then you got to stay out there a little bit longer, 30 to 60 minutes maybe. This sets your circadian anchor and triggers the cortisol awakening response. Midday, let's reinforce it. How about that? Let's take a brief outdoor break around noon. Even 10 to 15 minutes helps to maintain your cortisol curve and provides vitamin D synthesis. If you're indoors, position yourself near a window with some natural light exposure. Afternoon transition. View the sunset even when possible. Late afternoon light exposure signals your body to begin the cortisol decline. This helps establish the boundary between active and rest phases of your day. And the evening, minimize the artificial blue light after dark. Dim the lights 2 to 3 hours before bed. Use warm toned bulbs and consider blue light blocking glasses to protect your natural cortisol decline and your melatonin rise.
If you're struggling with belly fat, maybe chubbiness in the face, and poor sleep, you may have high cortisol levels. Here are 3 tips to help to lower those cortisol levels and maybe help you to lose some of that belly fat. Okay, number 1, try meditation, just 2 minutes a day. Just calm your nervous system, can really do wonders to help with your cortisol levels. Tip number 2, try some forest walking. So studies have shown that this helps to lower your cortisol levels just by being out in the forest. As we can see in this research, it's called forest bathing, which is amazing. And tip number 3, try some herbal medicines. Some of my favorites are valerian, skullcut, passion flower, and lemon balm. Great to lower those cortisol levels and to help with that stress.
When you're stressed, anxious, or you can't sleep, here's a little trick for you. I want you to discover the power of your breath to soothe your mind and body. By taking 2 short, deep breaths, followed by a long, slow breath, you can activate your parasympathetic nervous system, often referred to as the rest and digest system. This simple breathing technique engages the vagus nerve, and this helps your body reduce anxiety and promotes that relaxation right away. Incorporating this practice in your daily routine to calm your mind, to ease stress, and improve sleep quality, 2 quick breaths through your nose, followed by a long exhale out of your mouth. Do that for a minute or 2, and your body's gonna love you.
You know, we always tell people, when you're stressed out, breathe. That's what he's talking about, right? So when your cortisol is disrupted, most of our lifestyles often work against our natural cortisol rhythms. Insufficient morning light, excessive indoor time, bright artificial light at night, all of that's messing with it and causing a misalignment. And this disruption has some measurable consequences for your health and your wellness. At flattened delay curve, without strong light signals, cortisol levels remain moderately elevated all day with no clear peak or trough, leading to persistent fatigue and difficulty sleeping. How many are just tired all day long? Elevated nighttime levels. Evening blue light exposure keeps the cortisol higher than it should be, suppressing melatonin, which is supposed to help you go to sleep, and making it difficult to fall asleep or stay asleep through the night. Chronic health impacts. Long-term disruption is linked to metabolic syndrome, insulin resistance, cardiovascular disease, obesity, depression, and accelerated aging processes. So we have a path. We've already discussed. We're going to take this path. Yes, we are. If you're watching this, if you're listening to me, you're going to start this path. We're going to start this path together because this connection between sunlight and cortisol represents one of nature's most elegant regulatory systems. By aligning your daily routine with natural light patterns, you're working with millions of years of evolutionary biology. So here we go. Start tomorrow. Set your alarm 15 minutes earlier and step outside immediately upon waking or somewhere nearby upon waking. Let's build some consistency. Practice daily for 2 to 3 weeks because we got to reset our circadian rhythm and our cortisol patterns and then track your progress. See if it's changed anything. See if it's helped. I know I felt different after just being out there for about 5 minutes and accepting and receiving what was available to me all along. See, knowledge is power, but when you execute it and you do something with a different understanding, it makes a difference. So let's track your progress, monitor your energy, your sleep quality, your mood, to see if you have any measurable improvements. Small changes in light exposure, create profound shifts in hormonal balance. Your journey to optimize wellness begins with something as simple as greeting the morning sun. Next week, we're going to talk about mood stabilization, but we're going to stop there because I just want to hear that feedback from you, knowing that you have started this process and this path.